Hello guys, this is Amol Khedkar. I welcome you to this video. Today I'll be talking about the article that you see on your screen which says Germany and the World in 2030. This is another video in my ongoing series about the world in 2030 where I am analyzing all the G20 countries and giving you detailed videos about where exactly I think these countries will stand by 2030. So this will be about Germany, European Union, France and many other things, but particularly about Germany. So please don't forget to watch this video right till the end because you don't want to miss out on any of this. And before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel because nobody else is doing these kind of detailed videos about worldwide topics and geopolitics on a daily basis. You really don't want to miss out on any of this. So, who has written this article? So, this is the person, Thierry de Montbrel. He's a French guy, but what he's saying is that we must dream of a European Union capable of exerting a positive influence on the entire international system. Germany and France must work together for that vision to become reality. So, if you have seen my video about where I think European Union will stand by 2030, I outlined four scenarios in that video, and I think two of them are very probable. Okay, one of them is that the European Union will just be fragmented and it will collapse. That's the first thing, and the second thing is that European Union will, literally just be subservient to China because China will, just try to use the divisions in Europe for its own benefit. So these two things I really think are more probable for Europe or Germany or France as such. The other two scenarios were like, Europe might emerge like a strong Europe with many cohesions around different countries. But to be honest with you, I don't think that's a very probable outcome. Uh, you know, Europe is a very fragmented society and it has been like that for thousands and thousands of years. It's not very new. Europe is a very fragmented society. Many different countries have their own languages. And when Nigel Farage was leaving the European Commission and the European Parliament, he had said that European Union is not just undemocratic; it is anti-democratic. And so I think European Union project is really a failed project, and I don't think it has a very good future. And what they are doing right now is they are just doing a sort of patchwork so that they can just let this European project get by some a few more years. But it's not a sustainable thing. That's just a plain fact, and many people know that. Germany, France, and the world in 2030. From a global standpoint, competition between China, the rising power, and the United States will probably form the leitmotif of the 21st century. This is definitely true. The rising power is China, and the US will form the leitmotif of the 21st century. Leitmotif in the sense, like, the main theme of the 21st century. However, existing global governance safeguards, despite their shortcomings, mean that the risk of a head on, violent clash between the two powers, uh, Thucydides' trap, according to Graham Allison, should be very slim in the next 10 to 20 years. So, what he is saying is that, however, existing global governance safeguards. So, what this guy is saying is existing global governance safeguards, despite their shortcomings, mean that the risk of a head on violent clash between the two powers should be very slim in the next 10 to 20 years. I don't agree with this statement. I think China and India will dominate the world markets by 2030. China is already the largest economy in the world in terms of purchasing power parity, and India will surpass America by 2030 in terms of purchasing power parity. So the consumers in India will have more purchasing power than the average consumer in America. American consumers really don't have that much power. America has a shrinking middle class. I have lived in the US for 8 years of my life. I have 2 degrees from America. And look at the current scenario that is happening. I'm recording this video at the start of June, the June month. And right now, there are literally many people on the streets because a black man was murdered by a white cop. and people are just fed up of the racial and economic inequality and the police brutality. So definitely America is not in a very good position at the moment, and China and India will definitely seize the moment and make their way in this entire world scenario. Because if you have seen my earlier videos, I always point out one important thing, that the future is Asian. The future is not in the West. The future is not in, yeah, North America or Europe. The future is in Asia. This peace could be disturbed by Taiwan. So what this guy is saying is this peace could be disturbed by Taiwan, because, as you know, Taiwan is like it's like an Achilles heel for China, because Taiwan is a democratic country and China is a communist country, and many countries in the entire world don't even recognize Taiwan. But right now, I recently heard that America is trying to give Taiwan a place at the United Nations, and that will definitely ruffle some feathers with China. Confrontations are more likely to rise in the new Third World, which, in the broad sense of the term, includes Western Europe and the former Soviet Empire. So confrontations are more likely to rise in the new Third World. So what this guy is saying is that this in the broad sense of term includes Western Europe and former Soviet Empire. So like Western Europe and Eastern Europe will be like the playground for America and China to have like a proxy war. That's what this guy is saying, and I think that's true. America really does not even want to engage into the world markets nowadays. Trump has made it clear very, very properly that America just doesn't want to be the herd bearer of the world. They don't want to tell the world how to live their life. So definitely China is going to take on the mantle. France and Germany cannot put their fates in the hands of the 21st century's two superpowers. As I said, France and Germany, both of them are really very small countries. There are many states in America and provinces in China that are bigger than the entire nations of France and Germany. So, to be honest, if Europe does not get united, there is no future of Europe. And if you look at the past 15 years of history of the European Union since it started, definitely Europe can never get united because they have fundamental differences within them. And so if Europe can never get united, definitely most of the European countries will stop becoming relevant as years go by. So as I've always said, like Europe is just a failed project, and people are just trying to patch it up somehow to make it work. So the consequence will be hazardous given the heterogeneity of this new third world and pressures associated with the relentlessly accelerating pace of the technological revolution, bringing unemployment, destabilization by social media and propaganda wars, growing inequality, and uncontrolled refugee and migratory flows in its wake. So, a big statement. One more time, the consequences will be hazardous. So, if France and Germany put their fates in the hands of US and China, then the consequences will be hazardous. That's what this guy is saying. Given the heterogeneity of this third world, so definitely the this new third world that this guy is calling, like the Western Europe and Eastern Europe, is definitely very, very heterogeneous. As I said, many different countries in the Europe have their own languages, their own cultures, and they have been fighting with each other for like thousands and thousands of years. And pressures associated with the relentlessly accelerating pace of the technological revolution. So definitely we are living in a very fast-paced world where technology is revolutionizing our everyday life, bringing unemployment, destabilization by social media. Unemployment is a very huge crisis, destabilization by social media and propaganda wars, growing inequality. There are protests happening in America right now in all 50 states regarding social and economic inequality and uncontrolled refugee and migratory flows in its wake. So definitely, if you look at the Syria-Iraq situation and the whole ISIS mess that America created, refugees are like the biggest problem that Europe has faced since the last 10 years. Even the US and China are not safe from these challenges. We live in a global village. No country is safe nowadays. The analogy that I usually give is that before globalization, every country was, you can look at every country like a boat that is in the sea, and if a hole is made in the boat of that country, then only that country sinks. But no longer that's how the world works. We are living in a sort of global village where all the countries are like rooms in a ship, a big ship. And if that ship starts sinking, then definitely all the countries will start sinking along with it. So we are all in this together. We just come down together and rise up together. So that's why I think it's but the world has changed a lot. Earlier, the industrialized countries, the so-called developed countries like Canada, America, Europe, and Australia and New Zealand had a sort of edge above the other countries. But nowadays, it's not the case. Okay, look at many different countries all over the world. Look at India, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, China, Korea, Taiwan. These countries have had massive development in just the past 10 years. There are places in India that I don't even recognize nowadays. So, this is what the world has become, and it's changing very fast. And I think the countries that have the most amount of population, they are definitely going to have an edge above everybody else. So, which are the three most populous countries in the world? China, India, and America. So, China and India have been the most populous countries for centuries, for millennia. This is not something new. America was as a country was formed in 1776, and since then America has only been growing because of immigrants, nobody else. So definitely, if immigrants stop coming to America, and by what is happening right now in America, and the whole world is watching, do you think anybody wants to be in America right now? You tell me. So once immigrants stop coming to America, definitely their society is going to crumble. States will remain pivotal players in the international system over the foreseeable future. So states will definitely remain pivotal players. So like countries will remain pivotal players in the international system for the foreseeable future. Therefore, the only way to keep the system from spinning out of control is to strengthen global governance, which requires bolstering interstate cooperation and adapting the UN system. So, my personal opinion is that United Nations is also a failed project because UN has not been very good at stopping worldwide wars. It has not been good at stopping. Look at the World Health Organization, right? So even that organization has not been able to stop the coronavirus madness. So I think UN is just completely irrelevant. You don't even have to, mince your words over here. All that looks very hard for at least three reasons. So just look at this. Even this guy is saying that which requires bolstering interstate cooperation, adapting the UN system. But he says that bolstering interstate cooperation and adapting the UN system looks very hard for at least three reasons. So he is giving you three reasons. First, the weaker states are the more reluctantly they cooperate with each other. Definitely true. Power respects power. Okay, there is no place for fear in this world. Only strength respects strength. So, first, the weaker states are the more reluctantly they cooperate with each other. That is absolutely true, like bang on. If you are weak yourself, you will not even be able to cooperate with each other. And there, I have made a video about this where I say that how the world will look like after coronavirus. It's titled New World Order After Coronavirus. Go and check out that video. It's on this channel. Second, it is likely that with or without Donald Trump, the United States has entered a long period of introversion. In the worst case scenario, this could prompt a trade war. So look at this second statement. It is likely that with or without Trump. So many people keep on blaming Trump, but Trump is not a problem. Trump is the symptom of a deeper problem. The US has entered a long period of introversion. So US is just going to look after itself for a long time. In the worst case scenario, this could prompt a trade war. Definitely it is going to prompt a trade war. Moreover, China has no intention of assuming any kind of global leadership role. That is also true. China just wants to exploit the world markets, but it doesn't want to assume a sort of global leadership role. So there will not be any leader as such. It will be like a multipolar world. Go and look at that video about New World Order after coronavirus. You will understand what I mean. But is good global governance possible without a leader? As this is a very good question. Is good governance possible without a leader? Earlier US used to assume like the sort of police role of the world, but now it just turning inside. US is not in a very good situation right now. There are protests happening all over America. So, do you think America really cares about what is happening in other countries where they can't even take care of their own country? Definitely not. Lastly, the co-management of major interdependent planetary challenges such as climate change is still in its infancy, even as the problems they bring about are worsening. Very true. The co-management of major interdependent planetary challenges. So, what are the major interdependent planetary challenges like climate change? They are still in its infancy, so that problem is still starting, even as the problems they bring about are worsening. So, the problems that climate change is bringing about is really worsening, but there is no cooperation between the countries to handle it. Russia's place is closer to Europe than to China. I do not think any miracles are to be expected in the 12 years leading up to 2030. So, no miracles are to be expected in 12 years leading up to 2030. As I said, you just try to analyze what is going to happen based on the trends that you have been seeing for the past 20, 30 years. And that's why, based on that, you do not think any miracles are going to happen by 2030. Countries such as France and Germany cannot put their fates in the hands of the 21st century's two superpowers. In the case of China, for obvious reasons, and for the US, their vision of the world shifts depending on the circumstances. Extremely good and extremely well written statement. So, in the case of China, for obvious reasons, I mean, many countries do not want to be like China because China is a communist country, and that's why, definitely, for obvious reasons, France and Germany do not want to put their fate in the hands of China. As for the US, people always think that US is like the land of the free, home of the brave, and it's like the most freest country in the entire world. Look at this statement that is written by a French guy. As for the US, their vision of the world shifts depending on the circumstances. So what that means is that US is a very opportunistic country, and they just have like shifting alliances. US does not have any permanent friends or enemies. US is okay. So from our point of view, then no project matters more than adapting and strengthening the European Union. So, what his point of view is that he says no project matters more than adapting and strengthening the European Union. But in my honest opinion, that's just not going to happen. But the EU faces serious problems caused by its sudden massive expansion after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1990-1991. However, recent crises, the difficulties facing the Eurozone, refugees, Brexit, and populism have shown that on the continent, European citizens remain attached to their union. So, a big statement. I will read this one more time. From our point of view, then no project matters more than adapting and strengthening the European Union, but the EU faces serious problems. The EU is in decline. So, what are the problems? Sudden and massive expansion after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1990s. So, definitely, as you know, European Union started forming after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1990s. The recent crises are more prevalent. Like what? The difficulties facing the Eurozone. So there's a place called Eurozone where all the countries use Euro as their currency. So definitely that's like Eurozone crisis that has been happening for a long time. Refugees is a very big problem. Brexit and populism have shown that on the continent, European citizens remain attached to the union. But to be honest, this all shows that European citizens don't want to be attached to the union. Okay, so there are differing opinions here, but I can definitely tell you that Europe is a failed project. It's not a very good, way of handling the entire continent. Today, it is crucial to correct the European Union's feelings. So definitely, this guy even agrees that European Union has its own feelings, and it is crucial to correct them. We must dream of a European Union capable of exerting a positive influence on the entire international system. That's just not going to happen. Europe is going to keep on becoming less relevant as years go by, and by 2030, I think the entire system will just be in Asia. North America and Europe will just become completely out of the picture. Germany and France must work together for that vision to become reality. Germany and France, these two big countries in Europe, have been fighting with each other for thousands of years, not something new. So, definitely, I don't think they can work together for that vision to become reality. The task is huge, the pitfalls many, the accumulation of unpleasant surprises are inevitable. The task is huge. So this guy agrees that task is huge. The pitfalls are many. So definitely there are many pitfalls in here, and the accumulation of unpleasant surprises are inevitable. So definitely you're going to have unpleasant surprises as you go along by 2030. Economic and financial adaptation alone is a Herculean effort. Economic and financial adaptation alone is a Herculean effort. To say nothing of defense when the two countries have such different strategic cultures and often conflicting industrial interests. So forget about the other countries in the European Union. Just these two countries, the big superpowers of Europe, Germany and France, they literally don't even have their own, houses into order. Economic and financial adaptation alone is a Herculean effort for these two countries. To say nothing of the defense. So defense of these two countries is also a very big deal. When the two countries have such different strategic cultures are very different in France and Germany. If you look at the history of Germany, Germany started both the world wars and Germany lost in both the world wars. So Germany is like, the kind of analogy that I usually hear is that Germany is a drunk father that went to a rehabilitation center and now it is trying to make peace with its own family. That's what Germany looks like. But France is like, the kind of celebrity country of Europe. So everybody knows about Eiffel Tower, everybody knows about Paris, but the real work in European Union is done by Germans, and French people are just trying to they like to strike. French people like to strike. They like to go on many kind of protests and demonstrations, but they don't do that much work. Okay, France is a weak country. It's not that powerful as Germany. More generally, what about the difficulty of harmonizing their geopolitical outlooks? So, definitely, geopolitical outlooks are very different for France and Germany. France used to be a world power at one time, just like Britain, but right now it's just irrelevant. Germany is equal to European Union, and European Union is equal to Germany. So, Germany is the most dominant economy in Europe, and definitely, that's the reason why. If Germany starts failing, the entire European Union is just going to collapse. The all 26, 27 countries are just going to have a nightmare scenario if Germany starts collapsing. And right now, if you look at the central bank in Germany, they are having negative interest rates. So I don't see a very good future for Germany or France or the entire European project as such. That harmonization effort must focus on the union's neighbors, the former Soviet Union, the Middle East, and Africa. So even this guy is saying that the harmonization effort between France and Germany and the entire Europe must focus on the union's neighbors. Who are the union's neighbors? The former Soviet Union, like the Eastern Europe or Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, the Middle East. So surely, everything that happens in the Middle East has its direct effect on Europe because Middle East is very close by to Europe. So, how did the refugees from ISIS come to Europe? So, many people from Syria, Iraq, they went to Turkey, then they went to the Mediterranean Sea, then they went to Italy, then Greece, they went to Greece, then Italy, and then to Europe, then to Germany. So, and Africa. Africa is definitely like the backyard of Europe. So, as I've said, Africa was the continent that was chopped up by European powers like a cake. And that's why all these three things matter: former Soviet Union, Middle East, and Africa. But America does not matter here. Look at this, America or Canada or North America or Australia, these don't matter over here. Why? Because they are irrelevant. They will be irrelevant by 2030. The little Cold War that has followed the big one is a tragedy for in the long term. It is clear that Russia's place is closer to Europe than to China. So what this guy is saying is the little Cold War that followed the big one is a tragedy. For in the long term, it is clear that Russia's place to is closer to Europe than to China. So what this guy is saying is that Europe should try to bring Russia closer to Europe. Then, if it doesn't do that, then Russia is definitely going to go to China. So many people in the entire Europe are very skeptical of Russia, and for obvious reasons. Russia has been making and breaking elections in many parts of Europe for a long time. So it's not something new. But this guy is saying that if Europe wants to succeed, then they have to make friends with Russia. Otherwise, Russia will go to China. And I think that's true. Similarly, what do we stand to gain by pushing Iran eastward? Very, very important. Similarly, what do we stand to gain by pushing Iran eastward? So Iran is like the bad guy of the world, the so-called bad guy of the world. Every country in the entire world just wants to bash Iran. But what this guy is saying is that what do we stand to gain by pushing Iran eastward? Iran, if it looks eastward, then definitely eastern countries are going to benefit out of it. But if you isolate Iran, or if you try to make friends with Iran, and because Iran is not a very bad country, to be very honest with you, I just give my frank opinions on this channel, and I personally think Iran is not that big a threat to the world order as America is. America is a bigger threat for the world order than Iran. That's my honest opinion. So then this is the information about author over here. So he is a founder of the French Institute of International Relations and many other things. So this is a pretty legitimate author. And so I think personally that Germany will face a massive demographic problem by 2030. They will need immigrants into the country just like any other developed country. But the fun part is that the more immigrants come in, the more your society starts to be dysfunctional. So it's a chicken and egg sort of situation, and that's why I think most of the European countries will not even be relevant by 2030. I will stop talking here. If you liked my analysis of this article, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.